I'm doing a workshop in Truckee, California. It's just a few miles outside of Lake Tahoe. So it's close to Reno and it's close to Lake Tahoe. We're gonna have, it's gonna be myself talking and working with the collective on bringing in their channeling and some light language. Trina Jag is also gonna be there. She's been channeling in some really interesting beings or energies from Egypt, and also she has this very divine, I'm just gonna read it the way she wrote it because I never do it justice. She works with the Divine Feminine Council of Light from Sirius A, also known as Sirius Love. And so she's going to be working with the group with bringing in that divine feminine through those energies, and also through her connections from the Egyptian collective that she works with and channels. And she's going to be working with the light language with that. I've heard her light language. I've experienced her light language, and it's moving. It'll put you in another world right away. And then we got Leah Ray Light, who's working with the Akashic Records, teaching on how to access your Akashic Records using, she has a prayer that takes you into the Akashic Records. How do you access them for self? And then how do you access them for others? And so we got a lot of really cool things going on. That's going to be May 19th, 20th, and 21st. And that's going to be in Truckee River, and it's called Beyond Earth. It's on my website. It's also on social media, and hopefully Jason will have a link for that right down below.
You read it on mine.
Go check it out. We got the itinerary all set up for you. There's going to be a night where we do ceremony and sky watch, and we're going to be calling in the collectives and see who wants to show up. We're going to channel in messages from them as well. So it's going to be, the group is going to be smaller because we're holding it in Trina's house. So there's going to be limited spots because of that. And we've got a few people signing up already. So if you sign up before April 4th and you type in the word early bird in the promo section, all one word, early bird, then you can get $100 off if you get signed up before April 4th. So that's my announcement. And hopefully you guys will all, or at least the ones that are supposed to be there, you'll see this, you'll get signed up. We've got a few spots left. So
the Egyptian thing sounds pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Egyptian stuff, so I like the sound of that.
Akhenaten is one of the ones she's channeled through and given messages from Akhenaten. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in our collective, because the energy she brings in is very Egyptian. Trina is herself, she looks very exotic in that way. She's one of those people where you could be walking with her through a mall or an airport or something like that, and people will stop her to talk to her because she's just got this energy about her, and I can't wait to work with her in this way. So it'll be fun.
I'm assuming she had a past life in Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wouldn't probably do it justice to try to remember what it is and tell it, but yeah, she's very connected to all of that energy. And I'm not even sure if she's actually got to be in Egypt yet, but if you were to meet her and talk to her, you would think she walked right out of the ancient Egyptian timelines. Is amazing to just be in her energy. So
gotcha. All right, sounds awesome. Yeah. So that's May 19th. It's 3 days.
3 days, and that's it's Truckee River, but all the information and a little area map is on the link for that. So
all right, I'll leave a link below in the description.
Yeah, come join us. I'm sitting shorter than you, so I'm gonna adjust my, you guys won't
I feel like
my Daniel pictures. Get it in there now because I'm moving it, so I feel like I'm more even with Jason.
I know, I keep like slouching down.
I know, I felt like the little kid at the grown-up table. I was like, what's happening here? Why do I look so short? Oh, and then this, check out this necklace. I got this in Idaho, and I don't know if it reflects a lot, but anyways, I thought it looked like something galactic, so I wanted to get it. But the gal that makes the jewelry does a lot of different things that look very galactic, the way that she puts it all together. And I was like, do you have a website? She's like, no. I was like, can you get one?
Is that opal or turquoise or something?
It's like a it's almost like a shell, I think.
Oh, okay. All
You
right.
know, that's
Reflective.
been polished. I'm probably getting that wrong. I'm not quite sure what the stone is made out of, but it's very, here, I can take it off and hold it up because
Do that or
you all
send us
need
a
to see it
picture
close
later
up.
on.
And then you guys can tell me what it's made of, because as much as I have 100 stones and crystals around the house, I don't always know what they are.
All right. For the people
And
listening on the podcast, it
okay,
is a
so
chain, a necklace. It's a circle. Yeah, it kind of looks like an oyster shell that's blue,
yeah,
green,
let's see if there's a way to get that to
very
focus.
shiny. Oh, yeah. With like a blue metallic type of color,
Yeah,
like a
it's,
blue oyster shell.
yeah, oyster shell is what it made me think of. It's very thin.
Comment below. Let us know what it is.
Yeah, to me that just, it does, it looks like it's some sort of shell that's been polished, but the energy of it, just looking at it, even looking at the back, look at the design on the back. It just looks like something that should be pinned on
Star
from the
Trek.
Galactic Federation, Star Trek, something like that. And she had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of beautiful jewelry like that. It was something else. So now I get to try and put that back on. With all of you guys watching, can you let me know when that hits the little loop? There it is. Oh, that went easier than I thought.
Fast forward.
Yeah, back on. Okay. So
Perfect.
so that's my announcements. And then we will have there's going to be a retreat later in the year, September, October in Sedona somewhere. So so be watching for that too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. Well, I have two small announcements. So on Guardians of Magic, I interviewed JLF Sullivan. So this is her second book. So The Gift of the Stars. So I thought it was the Star Children, but The Gift of the Stars. So hopefully this is not backwards. Because on
So
my side it looks
it looks
backwards.
okay. It looks okay on my side. I can read it.
And this is pretty cool. So this, what's neat about her book is that she's going into more details of her having a past life in New York City, and as she's in New York City, she's experiencing another past life in the times of Lemuria and
Mm,
what was going on with Atlantis and information with Atlantis and Lemuria. And so this is kind of like her second book, and she finishes up that story, and then after she's done with this book, she's going to be wrapping up her third book. So that interview, the full interview, will be on Guardians of Magic, and I'll probably have a couple clips on Q.R.E. network, and I'll just have, it'll be smaller clips of that conversation, you know, the
wow.
metaphysical part of it, but all the main video will be on Guardians of Magic. And other announcement is that, sorry that with the last video that me and Tracie did, it was two videos because it was so long. And with YouTube likes smaller videos, so I broke it up into two. So one was for Quantum Stargate, and the other one will be Tracie channeling Daniel the Arcturian. So whenever we do long videos, it'll be broken up. It'll be into two sections. So help me get some extra points with YouTube instead of having one of this big long video, and YouTube doesn't know what to do with it now. So
Yeah.
it's the way of the future at the moment, unfortunately. And I know our videos are over an hour long. Even if you just did the channeling, it's still over an hour long. But
Right.
you know, it's kind of like they want even shorter videos than that. So like less than 10 minutes, but I don't want to do little 10-minute videos.
You guys want something to
I want
listen to on
something
your drive to
juicy.
work,
That's right.
right? You want
Something that
some
takes
good
up an
stuff.
hour of your time. Uh, but when you will try to do two videos each session, one would be for Quantum Stargate, and then for that playlist, and then the other one would be for Daniel Doctorian. So that's my two announcements. And if you have anything else to share, if
Uh,
not, go get Daniel. For,
I
maybe
think all the sharing
popcorn.
is going to happen in the Daniel piece. You know, I'm sure there's things to talk about. We were talking about what's been coming in. There has been a lot of changes. So,
Okay.
like, change is a theme, but I also think that if you pay attention, like I never noticed this before
Mhm.
until social media pops up with your anniversary dates and da da da. And
He
so
knows everything, huh?
it's like, you're going through, it's like, gosh, I'm da da da, I'm going through this thing. And then, oh, this thing pops up on Facebook. And last year I was going through this similar thing. Well, that's interesting. Or 3 years ago during this time, I was going through a similar thing. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. So I think as we all start paying attention to the cycle of our seasons, we might also notice that, we go through the same kind of cycles. Like winter is a time to just let things go and move them on so spring
Right,
can come
right.
in and all the newness of spring can be here. And as spring, we're in March now, and as spring is dancing its way to us, it seems like I'm coming out of this winter depression and into this optimism of spring. And it's like, oh, okay. But this is something I know about myself, living in living in Oregon, where it does rain a lot and it's cloudy. And like today, just looking outside, it was just a miserable rain. I can fall into that winter depression with that. So it was really good for me to get to do some traveling over this time, where I got to go to Hawaii and go to Idaho and go to Florida and do the things over the winter months where there's sunshine, and it kind of helps pull me through those darker periods of the winter months here. So, if you guys go through stuff like that, it's good to pay attention to how is your mood to the weather that you're having or to the season that we're in and that kind of thing. I think that plays a part. I know astrologically, there's been a lot going on as far as, we were talking about the moon cycles and stuff, and how we're just really healing a lot of things that have happened throughout our lifetime at this time. And the energies are there to pull it up and show us, pull it up and show us. And,
Kind of like
there's,
a spring cleaning kind of thing.
yeah. And, I don't know what other people are experiencing with that. Some people have moved through these things. It probably depends on what sign you are and where these things fall in your chart. So this wouldn't be a blanket statement for everybody. It's going to hit everyone differently. But we get to choose how we're responding to these things. And, are we falling into old patterns, or are we going into what have we learned over this time, and are we applying it? And I know I got to play in that arena the last month or so, where things were shifting around in my household and stuff. And I had to decide, well, how am I going to respond to that? Uh,
Hmm.
and it's been kind of, I mean, not everything has been fun, but it's been interesting to engage myself to and challenge myself to respond differently to it. And how do I neutralize what I don't like and amplify what I do like, and
Mm.
that. And so that's been an interesting ride to just be like, what am I feeling? This is what I would like to have happen. How do I create that? And that's not what I'm seeing happening. So how do I create that shift, and putting the energy towards that and seeing what happens? And so far, I've been pretty excited about the outcomes of that. Like, maybe it's not 100% what I'm trying to create, but there are other people in the house with free will and, ideas and thoughts around it too. So, you know,
Not like a few challenges, right?
best. It's definitely a better outcome than if I would have went into an old reaction and played that out differently. So, if I would have gotten into the emotional state and played into the fear and the anger and frustrations that were going on, instead of stepping back and going, what would I want to have happen here? And changing that process. And
Interesting. So it
yeah,
sounds like you're already shifting.
yeah, I think there's been a big shift, and there's more coming. We're still in some of the shift of the energy of the home. But I think that there's a lot of opportunities to see where we're at and where I'm at, as I'm playing in this role of Tracie in this household with, three kids and animals and all the things. One of the things we did do over the last couple of weeks is say goodbye to Narlin, the one that we all
Um,
pause because he's climbing up the steps and we don't want him to fall. 17 years, 4 months old. And
um,
we did say our goodbyes to him. So that
my
was,
mother-in-law had to put her dog down. Hmm.
yeah, Yeah, and I ask my dogs, please make it so obvious with, I don't want them to be in pain, but I
Right.
don't want to do anything before they're ready to go. And luckily I have my oldest son, Josh, is very in tune to the animals. And I would ask him, what do you think? He goes, he's not ready to go yet. He'll let me know. And I'm like, okay. Well, he did. He had a stroke and then he wasn't able to stand up, but he wasn't in pain. He just couldn't keep his balance. And so we knew it was time.
Yeah.
And by the time we did get him where we needed him to be for that to happen, he was definitely in his fading. He would have faded out on his own. So
Right.
so yeah, so that was a big thing, a big shift in this household and some grieving and you know, um, that missing energy where we're all like, where'd he go now? Where's he at now? He was the one, he was like having a baby in the house because you had to keep tabs on him and make sure he was eating, making sure he was functioning and walking and all the things and giving him his pain meds for his arthritis and creaky bones. So he was the one that required the most attention in the house. So when that was
Mm.
gone, then it was like there was a lot going on with that. My oldest son was the one that was his caretaker for the most part, and all of a sudden that wasn't there. And then that hit him, that it wasn't gonna, even though that can be annoying and frustrating, and I want to do this thing over here, but I got to go take care of the dog, or we can't leave the dog alone, all the things that it required, but now they don't, and it left this big void. And so there was some processing around that to do too.
Oh,
So there was a lot of things going on since I talked to you last.
it's not easy. And then I know you have multiple dogs and everything, but they're all cherished. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
They all have a lot of memories, and 17 years is a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, my youngest son's 18, so for pretty much all of his memory, he's always had that dog.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a very surreal thing. But then I have my spiritual side, so I can feel him around me. I could, like, we were driving home and I felt like he was sitting right next to me at the armrest, in the car. And um, I could feel his energy almost right away. And it was very light, and that made me feel good. It was a very light feeling and almost joyful feeling. And um, so knowing and getting that feeling of confirmation that yes,
Hmm.
he's in a better energy now, and he's not trying to muddle around in this old 17-year-old dog body anymore, so yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure the energy is still around and everything, because there was a video where it came up on someone's house camera where one dog that's still alive is playing, is running around and goes across the room just to get a ball or something. And you can see this faded image of another
Oh, that
dog
gives me chills. Yeah.
following that dog like they're playing. And so I thought that was pretty cool. So it makes you realize, just like how we have an energy that stays, they have an energy as well that stays.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So for all those who are grieving loved ones or pets, or however that may work for you, just if you can find yourself to be in kind of a more neutral place with the energy, because when you're grieving, it's hard for them to get through that wall of the grieving, and they need to let you grieve, so they kind of stand back. But when you get through that, and then you're able to be in the energy, they'll come and tap you on the shoulder and do some things and get your attention. That's pretty cool. I had one while I was in Idaho. I did a reading for some friends that lost their dad and husband, and his sign to them was going to be strawberries. And I'll tell you
ah,
what,
okay.
it's been so funny because the next night my friend and I, we went to dinner, and it was her stepdad and her mom's husband, and we went to dinner. We sit down, we go to Red Robin's, we sit down, and there's a whole display. They'll put the little thing in the little holder, and it's all about strawberry milkshakes, and there's strawberries on the whole thing. And we're sitting there, da 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 da. And we're looking at it, and da 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 da. Wait a minute, that's strawberries, And so right away he was getting the signs. And then I come home, and one of my kids, he keeps ordering strawberry flavored things, and I'm like, I know why you're doing that. So anyways, so they like to play with us and let us know that they're okay and they're doing good and they're still around and
Mhm.
can give us a bad time and all the goodness. So yeah.
So the strawberries were just showing up in a way.
Yeah, like so my youngest son, he's getting all into weightlifting and all the things, so he bought a protein powder and it was a strawberry protein powder.
Oh, okay.
And you know, the other thing was the little display of strawberry milkshakes, you know, and it was pictures of strawberries around a milkshake glass. Um, you know, they can show up in all kinds of ways. It could just be somebody saying the word strawberry.
Mm.
You know, them getting somebody to say that word or do whatever. But I even noticed when I was searching something online that there was this picture that came up that it had, oh, I think it was groceries. I was looking up some groceries online, trying to figure out what I needed my son to pick up when he went to the store, and there was this picture that came up with 4 different food groups, and one of them was filled with strawberries in the car. I'm like, even here, you're getting me, okay. So yeah, so I think they can do a lot of things for us as far
Mhm.
as letting us know that they're around, and so it's kind of fun to ask them to do that when you're in the right place and you feel
Right,
them.
right.
Yeah.
Well, a fun fact about strawberries. This was a trivia question that, and I don't know if they discovered any new fruits out there, but strawberries is the only fruit with the seeds on the outside.
Oh, interesting.
And
Hmm.
I got it within 3, 4 seconds. And the lady looked at me like, "Oh, you got that right." I was like, "Really?"
Funny. Yeah, I
Uh,
don't think I would have gotten
I was
it.
like, "I just took a guess." And the only reason why I got it right was because that day I ate strawberries for lunch. That's probably the only reason why I got it right.
Yeah, like it was, you could just imagine it right there.
Hmm.
Hmm. Very nice. Like it.
To go along with your strawberry story, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody asks their loved ones, their pets, to give you a sign that they're around.
Comment below
Comment
strawberry
below.
emoji.
Yeah. Yeah. How many of you are getting strawberries now? That's right. It happens. Your loved ones will just pick right up with that and keep going. So,
And we
all
do
right.
have
Well,
strawberries in the fridge too. So
look at that. Maybe
as
you
we
should
speak.
just, yeah, we should get the strawberries out and just eat them because now I want some. Um,
Not right now. We got work to do.
Oh my God. All right. Well, let me go get Daniel unless you got some more things you want to talk about.
No, no, other than that, I've been binge reading, trying to wrap up the 3rd book of Nostradamus and Dolores Cannon. Amazing stuff. So all
Yeah.
kinds of juicy information. This is probably the Nostradamus series is probably going to be a little bit more my favorite than the Convoluted Universe.
Hmm. She's got
Hopefully.
the new one out now too that the Ozark Publishing finished the book she was working on before she passed.
Oh, okay.
The Horns
Let's
of,
check it out.
yeah. Sorry guys. Now I got the book, but I can't remember. It's not close enough to me that I can run and grab it. And it's the Horns of the Horn. Anyway, Dolores Cannon, go look it up. I'm sure it'll be front and center. But yeah,
Absolutely.
from what I understand, it's good. I haven't got to dive into it yet, but I did pick it up.
Now, if I ain't mistaken, this is also some sessions that was from other practitioners added to the book, if I ain't mistaken, or is it just all
I don't
Dolores Cannon?
remember, but I know her daughter Nancy talks about it on one of the YouTube videos. She talks about because Nancy took the journey. I think she was the one that compiled it
Okay.
because they had, you know, Dolores had all the session notes and all the things lined up, but it hadn't been put in place yet. So I think that was what she had done. And I know she talks about it on one of the videos that she put out there. So
Might have to reach out to her, do a little video collaboration on this new book.
find out more. Yeah, she might like that. So, all right. Well, I will go get Daniel, you guys, and we'll find out what kind of juicy information he has for us for this go around of videos. So I'll see you on the
Perfect.
side.
Let's
All
see what
right.
he has to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, the first thing we're seeing and we're hearing in our mind is follow the yellow brick road. And we're getting the Wizard of Oz as everyone's skipping down the yellow brick road and following the yellow brick road. And everyone's on their journey to get home, right? Click the heels and take me home. And so following that yellow brick road, let's all get on board with what is our path, what is it that we are here to do, and enjoying that journey. Because wasn't Dorothy on a journey, and yet here she is making friends all the way through her journey, and she's getting to sing and dance and skip and play on her path to finding her way home. So that is what we want you to do. We want you to enjoy the journey and be playful, be in that playful mind. So with that, we want to say hello, Jason. Thank you for having us on again. And it's a pleasure to be here with all of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hopefully, Tracie hasn't been hiding you too much and you've been able to come out and play.
We've been able to come out and play, and we have gotten to be a part of a lot of different interactions lately, and we're very, very happy to be among everyone who is calling on us and everyone who is reaching their energy out to tap into their connections to the Arcturian councils as well. It's not always us, but there is a lot of beautiful souls out there that are finding their way to us now, and this is a very exciting time as everyone is opening up to their connections to the starseed families and making their way to new pieces of information that really aren't that new, right? It's just remembering these energies. Everyone used to be this or that or the other thing, and now you're starting to remember, and it's starting to become familiar again. And so as you keep evolving, as you keep reading the books, as you keep watching the videos, you're going to keep remembering more and more. And it's an exciting time.
So before we begin, you have any messages you would like to share to the audience? So with the Wizard of Oz with the Yellow Brick Road, which one is the lion and which one is the scarecrow?
Are we speaking about you and Tracie?
Maybe.
Maybe, yes.
Or she could be a different character.
It is all the characters in the play, right? All the characters in the play. So everybody's got their journey with these beautiful pathways ahead of them. And of course, there's going to be the little things on the sidelines that jump out and distract or try to slow you down. But as you hold on to your beautiful energies, the lion, why not call them the Lyrans in, right? And the Lyrans, and we've got the scarecrow. The scarecrow maybe that would be
The bird
not
group, huh?
connected. We were going to say the avian group, but then of course they are meant to scare them, right, and keep them away. But we do see, why not? The avians will pull them into that, and then we've got the Tin Man with all that energy around that Tin Man, and he wants his heart, right? He wants his heart.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's how the story goes.
Yes. So we could play with them. We could put them into, well, we might as well just claim that one. We're all heart, right? And so we'll be the Tin Man. So you can have your journey with your beautiful councils and follow that yellow brick road. You could have your angels, your guides, your loved ones on that road with you.
Perfect.
And just enjoy your journeys is the main message there, isn't it? To just keep yourselves in that place of singing and dancing and skipping along the way, even when things jump out and try to scare you. Move beyond that. You get to react to that, of course, but then find yourself, just like Tracie was saying, you get this opportunity now to respond either the way you have in the past or find a new way to respond and see what that creates. And so why not play in that energy? You are in a playground, if you will. Everything that comes into your pathways, if you were to take that approach, well, what would happen if I respond this way? And what would happen if I respond that way? Now, there's going to be the way you want to respond in the moment, especially if you are triggered or agitated. But we ask you step back and figure out what it is that you want. What is this triggering in you? And what is the outcome that you desire with it? And then see what what happens here is you could take this moment and you could say, okay, if I respond this way, what outcome am I going to have? And you'll get a taste of that. And then if I respond this way, what outcome will I have? And then you get to have a taste of that, and then so on and so on. And so you pick the one that you like the best and you give it a try and see what happens. You don't like it, guess what? You get to do it again, line them up. Okay, now if I shift what I'm doing now, what can I do? So it is all like a game, isn't it? And you're just finding that, what is that candy land that has the ladders? Just keep climbing the ladders and finding the slides, and you'll just enjoy yourself along the way. Treat it. We know that some things you might be looking at us like, but these are real life things. These are real life, destructive things that are happening. And we say to you, how much of that can you dissolve? How much of that is a belief system or learned behavior going into it? How much of that belief system, how much of that programming can you dissolve and look at it in a different way and see what you can do to create a different type of reaction, to create a different outcome? It's time to start playing in your reality, friends. It's time to start playing in it. You have enough information now, right? You know how to work with the energy. You know how to move the energy. You know how to pray over it, how to speak over it, how to claim it in different ways. You know now how to have certainty about things to create them. So go do that. Play in it.
Perfect. Sounds like we got some things to do.
You've got homework, yes. Your homework is your life. Go live it and see what happens.
If there's nothing else you would like to share, tonight's topic is going to be the shift, if you're interested in moving forward with that conversation.
Absolutely. So do you have a more specific question around the shift, or do you want us to just play in it?
Sure. So we could do both. So one of the questions would be, so the conversation of the shift has been coming up a little bit here and there in some videos, and also the book that I'm currently reading with Nostradamus, they talk about the shift as well. And I find it very coincidental. You know, everything happens for a reason. So on your point of view, first question would be, how do you see us coming along with the shift? And what can you explain about the shift for anybody that is new watching this video? Maybe they just awakened a year ago and don't remember your video from a few years ago, because it's been a few years since we talked about it.
And our information may be completely different today than it was 2 years ago, because we're no longer on that timeline, are we?
That's true. We are. I heard we are changing timelines.
Always changing those timelines and getting on board with the next one that's taking us even into the higher waves of reality. And so the shift, a lot of times your body is going to go through a shift with the energetic shifts that go on in the planet. So the planet goes through these shifts because everything has to acclimate to the energy. You are energy, the planet you're on is energy, everything is energy and an energy exchange. And so as this planet is moving into its fifth dimensional frequency, it starts to make molecular changes within itself. You have cellular changes going on. You have molecular changes going on. You have your physical body is changing, your mental body, your spiritual body. It is all changing through the shifting of the planet into its newest atmosphere and reality and dimension. And so you must shift with it. We believe it is Dolores that has said, you're like fleas on a dog. The dog doesn't care if you go with it or not, right? And so if you don't shift with it, you are going to do something different. You're either going to leave the planet altogether, or you'll stay in a third dimension and play that out the rest of the way. If you can shift with this planet, it is ready to bring you into the fifth dimension. And some people are already experiencing the fifth dimension because it is available to you now. The more you do your work and your homework and release and let go of these things that no longer matter, they are part of that past, and it's almost like they're a past life altogether. Yesterday and beyond, treat it like it, that didn't even happen anymore. Now you're a new day, a new day, a new day. And the more you can do that, the more you can be present. And the more that you can enjoy that presence that you are in, you're going to hold and sustain that fifth dimension. How do you get there? Well, like we said, you're going to be going through those shifts. Your body, your physical body goes through a shift. Your mental and emotional bodies go through shifts. And there's going to be side effects to those shifts. If you feel we don't want to list them because we don't want to create them, right? And so if you feel like you're going through something, like you're not quite sure what this thing is that you're going through, there are websites out there on that internet that help you understand these symptoms. And so looking up the symptoms of the shift in your search engine, and you'll be able to find those websites. And then you can look it up and see if you fall under some of those symptoms. So if you were struggling with something right now, that might be a good thing for you to go see if that falls under those symptoms of the shift, and find out what is it that, because most of those websites, they'll say, if you're experiencing XYZ, this is why, and it'll tell you what you're going through as you're leveling into these other dimensions. Your body is being prepared to be in other dimensions. We have talked to some of you about through sessions or through conversations like this, how you are going to be the ambassadors of your world, where you are going to be taken onto ships and going into the other worldly things in the physical body that you are in. We're not talking about you going to sleep and your energy body leaves and goes and has other experiences. We're not talking about that. Your conscious, earthy, physical body and your present earthy conscious state, as you evolve it, you'll become the ambassador for the planet, for your sector, for whatever pod or group or collective that you're with. And they'll come get you and they will bring you to the councils, to the meetings, and your physical body will go and it has to acclimate to that. So some of you are going through more than others as your bodies are acclimating to be ready for the pressure changes and the different atmospheres and the things that your body will go through to move from one point to another, and fast and extraordinary fast speeds. And so there's a lot of shifting going on. So you've got your timeline shifting, you've got your emotional, mental, physical, spiritual shifting going on to acclimate to the energies of the planet. And then you've got those who are getting ready to become the conscious level ambassadors with these councils that are getting ready to, I think we talked about that coming in the next couple of years, that people will start becoming ready to take those journeys. And so if you feel like your body is going through a lot, it just might be. So just keep a positive energy around it. Make sure that we don't want to tell you not to get the care that you need if you're uncomfortable or suffering in some way. We do want you to make sure that you're getting the medical attention you need. But if it's something that's unexplainable and the doctors are like, we don't know what to tell you about this, you might be who we're talking about, right? And so just keep that in mind. And so did we cover the whole question that you had with the shift?
I think so. If you could just circle back. So with the shift, and you mentioned ships, people going on to ships. Can you go, like, what is that for the ships? Is that to like help people change into a different energy with the
The
ships?
ones that are going on the ships that are physically going to be, like if you were right now, Jason, somebody could, one of the little ETs could be knocking on your door and going, okay, it's time for your meeting. And you would just get up and walk out and they would beam you up, Scotty, and then take you off into the Galactic Federation to sit on a council so that you could be informing them, how are people doing with this energy right now? You're going to be reporting in person versus this etherical exchange that's been going on. A lot of you, all of you have already been in exchange with these collectives to help them understand what it is to be human on this planet, but it's going to move into another level where you're physically on the councils, speaking to them and being the ambassadors for the humankind, bringing humankind back messages from the collectives, from the star seeds, to help them to evolve at even faster or create even more of the fifth dimensional frequency. There's going to be a learning period, right? There's going to be a learning period of working with the energies and creating and manifesting, and just like when man was first put here and they had to be taught how to create fire and And the ET collectives were coming to Earth and instructing humankind for a while before that was banned. And it will be opposite now. You'll go to them and then bring the information back. And so some of you that resonates with, you're going to go and gather information that will help evolve the planet, and then you'll bring it back and you'll share it with the people. Does that make sense?
So this would be more physical, not out of body experience or anything like that.
Correct.
Gotcha.
This would be something you would see in your movies where you are very conscious and aware, only you're not in a battle, you're in a peaceful time, and you're learning how to evolve your telepathy or be able to move your body energetically, hover, if you will, and maybe train yourself how to work with the energies and the frequencies of your planet so that you can move your body and teleport. Is that the word we want? Biolocate, maybe, is the word we want. Biolocate to different areas. You're going to be taught a lot of things. As you get into the higher vibrations, you have access to so much more, right? And so as you keep rising those vibrations, you're going to start getting in connection with the beings that will be able to show you how to use these frequencies to create more than what you've been creating with them. You'll have access to more ability, if you will. And this is what the ambassadors will be coming back with.
Oh, very interesting. The book that I am reading, it does talk about how we will have more communication between our galactic brothers. So that could be what they're talking about, you know, with the communication. Hey, how things are going? Well, this is how it's going. Oh, okay, well, here's some advice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, you know, and it grows so fast now. When Tracie started channeling in 2018, and that is where you guys had met. When she started the channeling, it seemed like no one around her channeled, and people would be like, oh, that's so interesting, I want to hear more. And as she is now in 2023, and now she bumps into people and they don't say they don't channel, they say, oh yeah, I channeled the Syrians, oh yeah, I channeled this collective called whatever it is. And it's more and more now, she is, as she interacts with people, it is no longer because they're curious about channeling, it's because they are also channeling and being brought together. And so just as you were saying, there's going to be more communication with our galactic brothers and sisters. That is happening in big, huge waves. People that come into their spirituality are now, they're jumping in and saying, okay, I want to channel, I want to understand, I want to get into these communications with these other beings that can bring in information for me. But even beyond that, isn't it, see how fast that grew just in a couple of years' time, that grew so fast. So when this starts happening, when the in-person collectives start, when you start going to meet them in person in the physicality, that is going to start rapidly and advancing on your planet as well. And so yes, it feels like it's moving slow, but at the same time, it really isn't. When you can look at the bigger picture and you can see how fast that actually is, then within the next 2 to 3 years, you'll start seeing it'll be more open, it'll be more publicly known, these channels, it'll be more publicly known, these visits and these exchanges with the ambassadors and the collectives. And so there will be, the world has to be educated that not everybody's out there to kill them, right? They have this
That's true.
idea that anything that is outside of this planet is the enemy. And so the ambassadors will be here to help the collectives, help the humankind to adjust to the new information, that there are some beautiful, beautiful collectives out there working very hard on their behalf to help them and to evolve with them. And so that is why the alien races themselves are not coming to the earth, but the ambassadors are going to them. And then they're going to come back, educate, teach and show. And as they show people how to use their gifts and their abilities, and they keep evolving, they will become the energetic match to also be able to go between this earth and others. And so it expands, and it expands quickly as we are already witnessing. So many more people opening and desiring that connection to home, or as they feel as home, familiarity.
Interesting. Yeah, it does sound like reading those books that a lot more teaching is going to be going on. So
Wonderful.
whether it's special gifts and so on. What about the earth? What can you tell us about the earth shifting?
Absolutely. We'll look at that for you. We know the conversation that you and Tracie were having
I
about
know you was listening
that
huh?
shifting planet, right? And so maybe filling the audience in on what it is that you were speaking about, why we look at this and feel into it, where the earth is at this time with that information.
Okay. So me and Tracie was talking about one of the maps that is in Nostradamus's book. This is, well, it's in the second one, but this is the third, but it's actually in the second one. And it talks about the United States, Europe, South America, and Africa. And it was showing, sections of the world that is still left and what's on the water and what is above ground, what lands rise up and what lands go down. And so, I wanted to know where Tracie was on the map in case I had to hightail it out of here. At least I have a section to go to. So, but she said, nope, I'm still on, considering what this map is saying, I am not even close to being on land. So we were just talking about it now, just for frame of reference, from what I understand, that was the negative timeline. So there will be some kind of earth shift, but we'll be more on a positive where there'll be more land mass, just maybe not as much, but more than what was in the book. So that's what it kind of sounded like to me, what I gathered from the books. And I asked Tracie, I was like, well, we didn't do a video about the shift in a long time, and I think it's due now, especially with all this information that I'm reading and it's coming up in the book, and everything happens for a reason. So it'll be interesting to see what Daniel has to say.
And intro back into Daniel. So the first thing that came to us, and we love it because remember the Moses codes. Do you remember that video when we talked about the Moses?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And as we were sitting here listening to you, they reminded us of the Moses codes. Those who were carrying the Moses codes were shifting the energy of that very thing that you were speaking about. Remember, we didn't have a lot of information about what those Moses codes were about at the time, but they were about resetting the global shift in this energy. Remember Moses with his staff and parting the waters, right? And he could move energy like that and move water and land. And so with these Moses codes, what is happening is, yes, there will be a shift, but remember also, as Moses led his people out of slavery, it took 40 years. And so again, we go into these clues that are left for us in these little encryptive ways that they are letting us know what is happening. This will be over the course of years, and there will not be anyone caught off guard, that unless they are meant to be, right? Unless they are meant to be caught off guard. And remember that those who lead the planet, they chose to lead the planet. There are many people around the world right now that have been feeling that call to move, And if you are trusting it and you are going with the flow of it, you'll be just fine. And if you are not feeling the call to move, then maybe that is not what you're meant to do. But remember, this is over the course of years. This is not going to be overnight. There will be changes, but it will not be as drastic as the maps that were shown to Tracie today. There will be more land mass than what is being shown there. There will be more survival than what has been spoken about in the timeline that you are currently on. You are still lining up for larger land mass, plenty of time for those who are meant to be staying on the planet to get where they need to be. And remember that if you are one of those that over the years of time, if you are still here when that all is taking place, then that was your path. And those who are not here, that was their path. And what is Tracie is in her mind saying, so no survivor guilt, right? No survivor guilt over that.
True.
This is what was meant to be. And those who have survived, you survived because you were meant to survive, and and carry on and create these new systems, these new, there's not going to be the borders anymore. There's not going to be, you get to reset it all, right? And so over the course of time, this will start to evolve, and you'll know when it happens. The first event will probably be something that'll grab everyone's attention, right? And just remember that as it evolves and as it unravels and the earth is making its changes, again, there will be more land than what was realized in the beginning, because you're no longer on that timeline. There will be more survival because more and more people are awakening now than ever before. And so as communities continue to keep on awakening and moving in these energies, what we are telling you today could change tomorrow, could be completely different by next year's time. You could have evolved it even more. And the more that society is willing to awaken to these energies and be part of this new way of living in this fifth dimensional reality, then there will be no experiencing the land changing in a negative way. It will always evolve in the way that it's supposed to, and everyone that is experiencing their fifth dimensional reality will get to experience a joyful transition into this new way of being. So yes, you're still on a trajectory that this event will happen, not on the same magnitude that it does in the book you are reading, but it still has a hold on this earth, because this earth hasn't hit a point of enough of the consciousness pulling it out of it. It's about awareness, right? It's about awareness. So as those who are evolving, as those who are in their ascension process become aware of this earth shift as well, the more they nurture Mother Earth, the more they care for Mother Earth, the more that they talk to Mother Earth, the more they can shift this reality and move the old reality out and move a new one, the more desire in. So you're really in control. But yes, this is still on the board to take place, just not as horrific, maybe. I don't know if that would be a word we use, but not as drastic. That's the word. Not as drastic as what you were.
That's what it sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
That this was a worst case scenario if we don't change certain things, the way we use technology, the way we use weaponry, wars, and stuff like that. So, and it does seem like some of the stuff that was predicted so far, it has not come true. So hopefully it seems like we are on more of a positive timeline.
Sometimes it's nice to look at a book of predictions like that and be relieved that they're not coming true, right?
That's what they talk about. They said, just pray that none of this happens.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, and that is all anyone can do when they look at the future, is they can look at potential. And what is the beautiful thing about looking at it? Once you look at it, it changes, because now you have the information and you can restructure the energy you have around it. What part do you play in pulling this in a different way? What would you like to have happen instead? And so your energies go into this whole rethink of this scenario, and then better outcomes are available now.
yeah. So it looks like there's still be some sort of, I guess you could call it cleansing, because of the water, it washes away. It looked like there would still be something that needs to happen.
Be something.
But like you were saying, not as drastic and not as severe.
And not all at once.
Not all at once.
All happen at the same time.
Gotcha.
Not like all of a sudden this thing happens globally all at the same time, and now there's only these little patches of land left. And the mass cleansing of the planet. Even with Noah, if you go to the biblical stories, Noah's Ark, he had time to build the ark. That took him years. And so again, this is a course of years. Those who are listening and paying attention will be okay. Those who are still in the fog or choose to not stay here, it is okay. They're going to have their experience, and it is okay that they have that. Death is not a bad thing. You transition back into these other realities, into this spiritual form. It's not a bad thing to leave the planet.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah, very interesting stuff, and that sounds about right. So, so, so does me and Tracy have to build an arc by any chance? Do we have to break out our hammers and build something?
They're so tempting for us to tell you yes, yes, you need to start on that right away. Get to building that. Tracy's like, it rained so much over here in the last few days. I believe it. I believe I need the arc. We think
Nice.
that you'll be guided perfectly, both of you, for what you will need to do in the time you need to do it.
Awesome. I look
There's
forward.
nothing to fear.
Perfect. So the other thing would be if you could explain, there's a type of shift of consciousness. How does that work with the shift of consciousness and humanity evolving mentally?
Well, a shift of consciousness every time you pick up a book, every time you watch a video or introduce yourself to something new, your consciousness must shift, right? You must
Mm,
decide, is this something that means something to me? Do I want to build a belief system around what I just read, or is this something that I'm just going to let go? And so every day, as Tracie says, I might believe this today and tomorrow it could be completely different. Be in that mindset of flexibility that you're learning on stepping stones. The things that people were learning 10 years ago are no longer relevant in today's
mm,
knowledge and understanding.
mm.
So as one might look at, Tracie remembers back when she was looking at auras and how advanced she thought she was because she could see the auras, right? And you could see that somebody's got this beautiful fuchsia aura going on around the crown chakra. How amazing is that? And what a beautiful gift that is to be able to see that. And that was 15 years ago, and now look at her today. She's chatting with us in these other realms. She's doing all these other things. It's so much more expansive. She had to be willing to shift her mind and understand that there was so much more going on than just auras, and there's so much more going on than just chatting with us and auras, right? And
Ah,
so
I see.
there's so much more to learn, and so being in that flexible mind to shift into the idea that what was important today or what seemed relevant today may not be relevant anymore when she goes into tomorrow and the next day, as she keeps evolving and seeing and expanding and knowing what is there next for her to learn and what is there next for her to experience, and the same for everybody. So that is the shifting of the mind, to be able to open up to what's, oh, this is amazing, but if she wouldn't have asked what's next, what else,
Hmm,
maybe today she would still
interesting.
be just looking at the auras, right? And so keep that mind going. There is always, always, always the next thing. So, oh, I learned this today. What's tomorrow? What's next? What's next? What's beyond this? And there's always a beyond this. There's always a beyond this. And so that would be the shifting of the mind. What was the other question you were asking?
Kind of lost that other question, but it could deal with so the shift in consciousness is also kind of like part of the awakening as well.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a question I was going to ask, I'll ask it now. It dealt with, it kind of explains, especially in the book, the shift of consciousness and the shift of the earth. Now, the shift in consciousness sounds like we evolve to the next level from what it sounds like, but
Mm-hmm.
why is it connected? Why is the shift of the earth connected to the shift of humanity's consciousness? I didn't
Well,
get that far in the book yet.
what we understand that shift connection to be is the earth is moving into the other dimension, and as it's moving into the other
Um,
dimension, that wave of energy, that frequency adjustment is what's affecting humankind. And so when you look at waves, that word is used a lot in this realm of discussion, the waves of energy, the waves of the collective, the waves of whatever. It is all
water.
a rush of energy, a rush of energy, right? And like, what is a wave? It's something that comes crashing in very fast, and then it ebbs and flows, it moves. And so that is what you feel. You feel the waves of the energy. It ebbs and it flows. It's like, oh my gosh, last year this time I was so tapped into everything, and now I don't feel like I can talk to anything at all. What's going on? It's that ebb and it's the flow of the energy waving back and forth. So you have to do something different now. Think about this. Tracie talks to us. She gets it all connected. Her wave connects to our wave. But sometimes we come into her, and sometimes she has to go look for us, right? Because sometimes the wave is in and sometimes it's out. And
Ah,
so if you're feeling like you are like, I feel so disconnected, I don't feel like these beings are around me anymore, and all these collectives I talk to, are you still holding your energy here where they came to you, or are you going out and saying, okay, where are you at? Maybe it's your turn to be the channel for them. Maybe you're going to come into their reality and speak. And that can happen, and you are wise enough to do that. And what a thing, what a beautiful experience that is for the other planetary beings. If one of them were to channel you in to speak about the earth and what that experience is like, wouldn't that be something? And what a treat for them to be able to hear these stories, just like you like hearing from us and what it is that we're doing and how we're helping and assisting and what are we doing on these other planetary systems. You're going over there as well when you let your energy go out to them. So be mindful that there's so much more going on here. Don't be in all the limitations that you're creating around your reality, right? You are an expansive being too. So go out and expand and be bigger than just this physical piece that you are connected to in this reality. And when you create that as a collective, when the collective starts coming on board, as we were saying, more and more people, and as that keeps growing, then that wave of the collective will come in, and that will help push the Earth Mother into more of that fifth dimensional frequency. So as the healing will happen, if we want to say it that way, right? And we talked about the shifts of the energy of the planet and the rising and the falling of parts of the earth and all the things. All of this is all intertwined with each other, because as Mother Earth is moving into fifth dimension, humankind has to move into fifth dimension. Everything has to heal. All the scars and the wounds of the years and years of the mistreatment, both in humankind and in the earth realm and reality, the things that have been done on earth, the wars, the battles, the mistreating of the resources, and the consumption and the instant gratifications, and humankind and the suffering and the lack and the poverty and the abuse and all the things. All of this is healing, and we know it's healing. And we tell you this a lot. We know it's healing because it's all coming to the surface and is very, very raw, and you can see it everywhere. And that's how you know it's healing. The mass purging of Earth out of its third dimensional reality, as all the things are coming to the surface. And it looks like chaos, and in that chaos is the healing. And so keeping that high vibration, right? It takes the soldiers to stay in the high vibration. To be a light warrior is to hold the light, not to participate in the chaos, right? And so being here holding the light so that the chaos can dissolve. And that is some of the stuff Tracie was practicing the last few weeks, as she was saying things were getting chaotic in her home, and she had to decide, am I going to respond to that, react to that, or am I going to dissolve that? Am I going to dissipate that? And so she was playing in that, I don't want this reality, I want this one. And she was playing in that energy. And we want you all to start understanding that you have that kind of power. We don't want that to sound egoic. You have that kind of power, but you have those kind of gifts, you have those kind of abilities to take authority over these energies and say, no, that's not going to happen in my reality. That's going to be dissolved. That is going to be erased, in fact, as if it never happened. And you can bring it into that kind of clearing out of the mind, out of the energetic field, out of the home, and if the participants are willing, out of the participants, but at least out of your energy and out of your experience. And you have the power to do that. And as you learn how to do that, you will instruct others how to do that. You will show others how to create that peace within themselves, how to create the reality of desire when they want to dissolve that chaos. And then you'll do it globally. And so it's all going to happen in the next couple of years. It takes a little bit of time for each of you to learn these skills, and then you'll go out and teach it in a bigger capacity and then globally. And it catches on quick, right? Everybody knows all the new age terms now. You can't run into anybody that doesn't understand some of the new age terminology that is going on, where 10, 15 years ago, people wouldn't know what you're talking about and think you're talking gibberish, and now everybody's on board. So,
I do have to say my brother learned some of the new age terms, so he's waking up. So
yes.
interesting.
Well, it is being put out there in television as well as your social media, and then it's the new cool thing to do, right? And so everybody's got to learn about it, and everybody's had an experience at this point, so now they got to dive into what does that experience mean, and then their doors start to open. And so it is very fun to watch from here. I know a lot of you can be getting sidetracked from the chaos that appears to be going on around, but neutralize that. Remember, bring it into a place of peace, see it resolved, see it healed, and be done with that, and move it out of your reality. That is dissolved and healed, and that is not welcome in my home. This is a place of peace. This is a place of peace and highest and best good that is dissolved and resolved. And so move it out, and look at your family members. How do you want those outer extensions of yourself, the relatives, if you will? How do you want those relationships to go? Once you get your house in this space, then how do you want the other things to go? And we're not by any means saying Tracie is done with that, right? She is still working in it. She is still playing in it, but she's excited about it now because she has seen some results with it. And she has seen some very positive outcomes that she wasn't expecting. And so she's excited about creating more of that and seeing where that goes for her and for her family. And so we invite everybody to just be in this bliss and know that you can change the energy. You are very powerful, beautiful, and very creative beings. So we know you'll find your way to it. All right. Did we answer that one enough?
Oh, absolutely. More than enough, as always, above and beyond. So it sounds like there's waves of energy and then physical waves of water. I guess they're connected. The wave of energy is pushing the wave of water, probably. But I will like to circle back. You mentioned that y'all were doing some things behind the scenes. Is there anything you could share of what y'all doing behind the scenes?
There's always something going on behind the scenes, and here's why. You have the third dimensional reality, so you have to keep it simple for understanding's sake. Let's look at it like a computer. You have this program that can only run the third dimensional reality, so that is all you see, but there are many more programs running in these other dimensional realities that are going on all around you all the time. So there is always something else going on behind the scenes. But here's another behind the scenes peek. You have an aspect of you in those other realms. And so in those other realms, this aspect of you, many times you call it the higher self. You call it that subconscious part of yourself that is connected to all this information, right? It's running the show. And so when there is something going on in your life, and let's say that you were really looking forward to something and then it didn't happen. And in the moment, you don't know why it didn't happen. And you think the world's conspiring against you and all the bad things, and you're cursed and all the stuff. And yet behind the scenes, your higher self was working with you. And when you got excited about this thing, it raised your vibration. And when it raised your vibration, it made you a match for something even better than the thing that you were looking at. And so the thing you were looking at didn't work out because something better is now coming because you raised your vibration. And so allowing for that new thing that's even better than the thing you thought you were going to get, and it's now going to come in. And that is kind of a behind the scenes thing that is going on. You have your higher self working on your behalf to create the highest and best outcome for you, as long as you are going with the flow and you are in the energy of understanding, well, if that didn't happen, there must be something better coming, and not getting into the doom and gloom and the world hates me and I'm cursed and I have the black cloud. If you can stay out of that and understand that something better is coming, then you can remain the match for that thing that was better. Now, what happens though is a lot of times what you have seen in the course of your life is you had that neat thing that you were looking forward to. You raised your vibration, became a match to something even better. So the neat thing didn't happen. And then you got all doom and gloom about that and lowered your vibration. And now you're no longer a match for the better thing. And that's why it is very important for you to remain in the flow of knowing that whatever it is that is not working out, don't worry about that. That is a blessing, because that is lining you up for the better thing that is working out. And so get even more excited when something didn't work out, even if you were really looking forward to it and it didn't work out. You got to think about how exciting that is. If I'm not an energetic match for that anymore, then what am I an energetic match for? And could I even imagine something that I would want even more than that? And that's what's coming. And then you get excited about that, and it's going to get to you. It's going to make it, and you're going to get all the way to it. And so do your best we're not saying that you can't be disappointed, because obviously you're having an experience and you are a human in the third dimension. So you're going to have an experience with that, but also be in a quick recovery of that. Also honor the feeling and then move forward with knowing something better is on its way. And that goes for relationships too, by the way. But yes, behind the scenes, many things. You've got all the collectives that work on your behalf behind the scenes. You just have to ask for those blessings to come in for you, because you do have the free will, and they can decorate the behind the scenes all they want, but if you're not calling it in, it's just going to sit there waiting for you until you open up to it, and then it can flood into you. So what do you think would happen if you said, okay, for all the beautiful, gorgeous things that have been lined up for me all this time that I didn't know I could ask for, can you send it to me now? I'm open, I'm ready to receive it. And just see what starts happening in your life, and see if things start to change and shift for you, because all of these beautiful things have all been aligned for you behind the scenes. You just didn't know to ask for it. So now we're telling you, go ask for it. Go ask for the things you didn't know to ask for, and see what starts happening. That'll be fun, won't it?
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the information. And before we wrap it up, there's one last thing we have to do. And this is, I'm pretty sure it's your favorite and it's everyone else's favorite. It is the reading of the audience.
It is definitely a beautiful thing to connect with those who are listening and bringing their energy present. And there was so much energy present today. And we thank all of you for being here and listening, no matter when you're listening to these recordings. It could be 3 years from now. And like you were saying, Jason, that we touched on this subject a few years ago, and how interesting would it be to listen to that and then listen to how it's changed in this current recording as well.
Yes.
That would be a fun journey to take. So as we look at this audience, we're going to ask for anyone that needs a message right now, that they'll stand out to us in this energy. And there is a P name. It feels feminine. P, Pam, Patricia, Patty, something like that. And there's many P names. So if you are resonating with this, the energy feels feminine, but that does not require you to be female, right? You just might be in your feminine energy. And so as we're looking at this, we want to ask, what is the message for those who have names that start with the letter P? First off, they're going to be silly and say you're priceless, you're precious, you're, they're going with all the P names. They're being very, very funny.
Practice.
Yes. And so
practice makes perfect.
Perfect. Yes, you're perfect. You're all the P's, all the wonderful P's. So as we look at this, what we're seeing is there are some threads, some new threads these threads are threads to universal connections for you from galactic star beings that are aspects of self. So you're going to be connecting with other aspects of self that are co-creating right now with you in other realms, other dimensions, other realities. They are aspects of you, you are aspects of them. So these threads should be easy enough for you to connect with. We say these messages and we direct them towards a certain part of your audience, and then we realize this is for everyone. You can all do this. You can all do this if you desire to connect with other parts of self and other worlds, other realities, other galaxies even. And so finding aspects of self that are relevant for you now and are energetic matches for you now. And every time you change your energy and move your energy into new frequencies, now you're also making yourself available to even more versions of self. So this is such a fun time in the world where the knowledge and the expansion is getting to a place where this can be fun to be here. In whatever form the earth is in at the time, chaos or peace, it can be a fun time to be here when you can navigate yourself in these different ways. You can use your energy in these different ways and start playing with those structures that we're putting out there for you to play in. Connect to these other versions of self, get information that is new knowledge for you in this world. Tell me what I don't know. Tell me what I don't know to ask. Right? And communicate in those ways. Call in the benevolent beings known and unknown to you so that you can have all of the collectives that are a vibrational match for you right now at your presence and ready to help in whatever way and capacity they can. Okay, so that was a message starting with the P names. And now everybody's going to find a way to put a P in front of their name. So you do that and you go ahead and take that message. If it resonates, it's yours. Okay. So somebody is going rafting this summer. Somebody is going to go rafting this summer. We see you going down this beautiful, beautiful river. Mother Earth is such a beautiful, beautiful scenery. And you could not paint a prettier picture, right? And so there's this beautiful glacier water, and they're going rafting in this water, and it feels like they're going with friends. And they have loved ones on the other side that are telling you, go, have fun. You work too much, you're too serious all the time. Go have fun. If somebody is asking you to join them on a rafting trip soon, in the near future, in the summer, and you're planning for it now, go do it. Go on that rafting trip. And if you're a rafter and that's triggering you into the thoughts and ideas of going on a trip, go plan one. Be with nature, be with the water, be with the rivers, and this pulsing energy that moves through the earth itself. And what would a river be but a vein, right? Like a vein in the human body. Ride the veins of Earth. Go do it. We want you to enjoy this planet, commune with it, become friends with it, talk to it, and really enjoy this world that you live in, because that is really the piece of pie that matters, right? It doesn't matter when you leave this earth, doesn't matter how much money is in the bank or the relationship you built with everything that you got to experience while you were here. And take that with you. And so all of it is an experience. There is no judgment. Some of you want to experience the large bank account, and you'll go have that experience, and it'll be a glorious one too. But for the rafters, go rafting. Yes. Okay, let's see what else comes in.
The snorkeling approved.
Well, you wouldn't want to snorkel in the rapids, but we would like for you to go somewhere very fun and tropical, maybe, to do your snorkeling. And find your fish, your beautiful fish. That brings us all to the turquoise waters and how beautiful they are and majestic to watch as the waves come in. Beautiful times. There is volcano energy, since now we're in the tropics, and Tracie was just in the Hawaiian Islands. That made her go to the volcano. So we're looking at the volcano energy, and we're looking that for the most part that does look dormant, but there is this thread of energy that does move under the planet. So when you were talking ley lines earlier between the two of you, the fault lines, if you will, that must be where her mind went, because that's where we're going now. This is not anything in the immediate future that we can see. any of the fault lines being triggered at this moment, but they are showing us areas of fault lines. You all have access to that information, but please just don't go into fear around it. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're all going to get the information exactly as you're meant to get it, to get you where you need to be. And so don't worry about that. You are all in beautiful communication with your counterparts, with your collectives, with your higher self. And so you will be fine. As we look at this audience, we are going into, we want to go into the European area of the world. We want to go into Europe, and we want to look at this area. There is singing that needs to happen here. Singing that needs to happen. There is a big shift going on in Europe. Big shift of energy. It's kind of like when you have growing pains as a child. One day your arm hurts, the next day it's your leg or your knee or something, you know, it's not always happening all throughout the entire body, right? And so the earth is the same way. The growing pain may be over in South America one time, and then it's going to be up in the North Pole the next time, and then over in Europe, and then over here in the States, and then all the different places, right? And so right now we're feeling a shift in energy that is going on in the European countries. There is a large amount of energy coming out of Turkey right now that is starting to evolve through some crystalline energy. And so when you see again the fuss and the stirrings and the chaos arising, remember to keep in mind that it happens like that when the energy is being purged out and it gets cleared. And so when you see things are happening in these areas, know that they are all in alignment for being cleared. And we know that sometimes that can look intense and scary. So again, what do? We do not get into the chaos. We get into holding the love, holding the frequencies. So Europe, we want to hold this with you. All of you who are listening, let's all send this love and energy. Remember, we get to dissolve and recreate, and we get to mold it the way we want to see it. And so let's all gather around this beautiful world of ours and center and focus on the energies in the European countries that are not feeling so stable at this time. And we just send them all of that support and love and the highest and best outcomes, and keep sending the frequencies. It's such an easy prayer because you keep your own thoughts about what that looks like. And whatever you think that might be, those preconceived ideas, put them on a shelf, because all you have to do is ask for the highest good for everyone to be held here in this place and to be held on this planet. And then that is going to be exactly how that comes out. So we know that wasn't an individual message, but all of a sudden that energy just came popping off the map at us. So we appreciate everyone who is willing to send energy and be a beacon of light for that area. Hold it for your own areas as well, but send some love and kindness into Europe. Now, as we keep looking.
Was that Turkey or was that Europe?
Turkey has some energy that's coming out of there that is going to be crystalline energy that's going to fan out over the European countries and into the southern areas as well, into Africa and around about. It's the placement of Turkey is like a pressure point, right? It's like if you went to good acupuncture, it's going to be the big pressure point. There is a alignment in Turkey with the ley lines that create a crystalline sacred geometry positioned right there in Turkey, and it's going to be activated. It's already in its activation stages, and it's going to start really putting out some energy soon. So that might be something that is experienced by people all around the area. But again, energy is an interesting thing. So when we say that's going to happen, and that is happening around Turkey, if you are from Turkey and you are listening, we would love to have your comments down below. Can you feel that energy of support coming in to help you navigate through spreading this energy throughout Europe and through first we see it going through Europe, and then we see it going into the southern areas as well. But it fans out, it goes out. And but that is where we feel the energy, that is what pops up for us. We see Turkey, we see Europe, and so those are what we're going to focus on first. And of course, the entire planet always can use the love and kindness of everyone. And so wherever you want to put your energy, that is the most appropriate for you. Do that. As we look at this collective, we do see a few of you looking to get some new pets, to bring in new family members, if you will. There are some beautiful beings, beautiful animals that are coming in for you that are going to be very special to your family. So if you're one of the ones that have been looking for a new pet, there's a reason why that is popping into your mind, that is becoming something of a need for you, is because you have a very special soul coming into that embodiment that's going to be joining your family. So just see how you connect with this beautiful being when you find it. You'll know it when you see it. That's how that works, right? It's like the animal will pick you. And you won't be able to walk away without feeling like, well, why do I feel so torn to leave this little thing here? So trust it, whatever animal you are bringing in, whatever beautiful pet companion you are bringing in for yourself, it has a special connection to you and your family. And we think at that point, we feel Tracie's energy starting to decline and her throat is getting a little rough. So we're going to bring her back in for everyone. We thank you, Jason, for letting us be here with you and for letting us be with this collective again. We appreciate everyone for letting us be a part of your journey. And thank you again for being a part of ours.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Scratch. So
Yeah,
that was kind of fun.
Trying to keep it at an hour.
Yeah, you did really good. I was like, oh, this feels appropriate. This is good. Yeah, perfect. So was that the kind of information you were thinking you would get?
I think so. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
It was encouraging to see the changes that we were creating with those original photos that you were showing of the shifting in the land. And then when I was looking at that, there's parts in the original pictures where there are separated islands, and then in the new one, some of those are connected, and there's more
land
area.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In the way the story goes, or the situation, is that was the first timeline. That's what happened the first go round. And then Nostradamus created those books and those quatrains to help prevent all that stuff from happening. So now we're experiencing that part, and I think we're kind of like on top of another timeline change as well. So
yeah, it felt like it. And the more people that get on board with this idea and this thought process, it's just going to keep shifting and changing.
Right.
Next thing you know, we're going to be getting more land, and people that have beachfront property now are going to be, inland and going, what happened? Who knows?
Right. Because even when I read the other books, it talks about change, and this change has to happen. And I guess you could think of it as a baptism for the earth, a cleansing for the earth as well. Because even when you read these other books and they talk about the future, they talk about like, oh, we don't have, royalty families anymore. And it's like, what? There's no royal families in the future. There's different types of governments. There's different types of energy. Like it was kind of like a big reset kind of thing. And it kind of makes sense why all that stuff happened in that future, because they had their version of their catastrophe as well.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then, one of the things that always complicated my thinking was that you hear the shift and you're like, okay, the shift, and you hear someone say, oh, that's a shift in consciousness, not a shift with the earth. And then you hear another one says, no, the earth is shifting. It's literally shifting.
Well, if you think about it, the earth has consciousness.
Right. So technically it is both.
Yeah.
You know, one person's just seeing one sliver of it, one point of view of it, and then another person is seeing a different part of view of it. They're seeing maybe from the Earth's point of view, and
Right.
come to find out it's both. And I always thought that was like, how come you hearing two different stories, and then come to find out
Yeah.
it's both. We're changing it just as much as the Earth is changing. So that was a little hard for me to wrap my mind around. It's like, wait a minute, I thought it was one or the other. Like, I thought the
Well, if we
shift
want
was
to go along, we better get on board. So, yeah.
so it's both at the same time. Like, we have to evolve too consciously as well, and so does the Earth to go to its
Well,
phase.
and for everyone to keep in mind, you and I are trying to figure this all out too, you know, and reading the
Right,
books, and
right.
doing the channeling and looking at the scenarios. And that's where the shifting can really take place, when our minds are open to the possibilities. And yeah, that can be possible. And channeling Daniel has changed everything for me, because before Daniel, there was right and wrong. Before Daniel, there was good and bad. And now it's like, oh, well, that is, and that is, okay, flat earth, round earth, you know, well, you get what you believe. So if you believe you have a flat earth, then that's going to be your experience. And it took me forever to figure that out. And it's like, I get it now, because they believe it's a flat earth. That's the experience they're having. And I believe in a round earth, and that's the experience I'm having.
Right.
The experience of believing there's a round earth. Maybe there's no earth at all. Maybe we're all in a little test tube. We don't know. So
Maybe we're in a computer simulation.
maybe. And in a computer within a computer within a computer, who knows? Anything is possible. And I like to explore these ideas and these concepts, and you know, some of it sticks and some of it's like, oh, that was fun to think about for a minute. But yeah, you know, so I think as we all can just allow each other to have whatever belief systems, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if my belief and your belief are the same.
Right.
You know, we can still coexist, have fun, and it's okay, because the beautiful part is you get to have the experience of your beliefs, and I get to have the experience of mine, and it doesn't have to be a conflict. And that's
Exactly.
where I think we evolve, is when we realize that we don't all have to agree of what that is. So, and then the like-minded people find each other and amplify that belief for a collective, and then they have that experience. And I
Yeah.
think that's what Dolores is creating here with the convoluted universe, and all the others who also are having those similar experiences. We're creating a belief thing. We're creating a belief around something that keeps getting amplified and amplified. And now we're creating a reality on that belief of the dimension of a new earth, of this new experience. And so we're going to have that experience because we all believe this is the new way of being. This is what's going to happen. So who's to say that's not what's being created too? It's all started from this idea, and then we all like that idea, and we're expanding that idea. It resonates for us. It feels good for us. So we're going to be in that. Of course, we're going to be in that. So
Absolutely. You like that answer about the arc, that we don't have to build arcs? Aren't you proud of that?
You know what? In my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm going to start over here in Oregon, and you're going to start New Orleans. We'll just build towards each other. And by the time we get to the middle, we'll be on that land that we don't need it on. But yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. It's like, hey, can you send me that blueprint again? Make sure this is matching
you
up.
download that. That's right.
So from the session and everything, so what were you seeing on your side with everything? Was Daniel showing you anything?
I'm trying to think remind me of the questions, and then I can recall more of what was being seen.
Besides the yellow brick road,
yeah,
with the scarecrow and so on, the shift. So one of the things that you mentioned about was the shifts in consciousness. Everybody's journey and everything, doing
Oh,
Mind's
so yeah,
expanding. Changing.
what I was seeing a lot with that was the chaos. They never show it to me in whatever's going on around the planet. It's almost like it's black tar and then us holding positive energy around this black tar like
Oh,
it's not even energy, it's like
like
the
a dark energy kind of thing, or
no, it's like residue of what's being purged.
oh,
So it's not even like they show anybody as a negative force in anything. It's just this energy that's being purged is shown like black tar.
mm,
And then we're all it's almost like we're all the ones standing there with the little candles singing kumbaya songs or something as we're
mhm.
moving and transmuting this energy. And it's not to reject it. And that was a concept I had to get a hold of in this last year. We're not rejecting this energy, we're healing it. It's energy, so it's always going to be energy. So we don't want to just send it out. It's like you don't want to send a ghost out of a house. You want to help them transition. Otherwise, they're just going to go find another house to haunt, right? And so we
Right.
help them transition. So it's the same with this energy. We're taking that energy and we're able to mold and shape it into
Transmuted or something.
transmute it into something better, shift it into a lighter frequency. So we're not getting rid of it, we are healing it. And so that's kind of the way I was interpreting what was being shown to me with this black tar like energy, and we're all around it, just bringing in the healing into that, and it transforms. So
Gotcha.
hopefully that makes sense.
Gotcha. Probably that's also to help with the better timeline as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
Better experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the black tar is going to ooze out over those borders, and like I said, as we keep doing our work, the land's going to get bigger, not smaller.
Right.
Have more land, not less. So
You had to refresh my memory on the Moses Code. I almost forgot about that
I
video.
did too. I did too. So I'm trying to remember. That was a long time ago. The Moses codes were coming in, and
Yeah.
calling in the people.
At first I was like, what are you talking about? We talked
Yeah,
about Moses, but I remember the Moses Code part.
yeah. So there was a time when we did a channel with Daniel, and I think I was asking what was this bright light that was up in the sky that I had seen or something. And was
Mm,
it a star? Was it a planet? What was it? And they said it was a beam of light bringing in the Moses codes. I could be getting this all wrong, but I remember they were bringing in the Moses codes, and there was a lot of people in the audience that resonated with that and had written us back and said, I think I'm one of the ones that carries the Moses codes. I got chills when you talked about it, and
mm,
emotional reactions. And so that was interesting to learn that, because at the time I don't think they were supposed to get the downloads of what they were supposed to do with the Moses codes, but I don't think we got information. We were not in the know of what that was supposed to do so much as I think it was supposed to help bring healing into the planet. Something we kind of got our basic answer.
hmm.
But how cool is that to
Yeah,
find out
some
Moses code?
parting of the water or something. Maybe some type of energy with the water. What it sounded
Might
like.
have been. That might be one to go re-listen to. I don't know if we can find it, but yeah, we might have to go re-listen to it.
All
I mean,
those
that was
videos.
like, I can't, that had to be a couple of years ago.
I think so. Easy. Couple of,
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I forgot about them until that came in. So that was like, oh yeah, the Moses codes. But to find out it's helping with those ley lines and that new map, that's interesting. And it makes sense. But I like the knowledge that came with that even that walk that Moses took to set the people free, that was over several years. And so you were right in that concept that, this doesn't happen overnight. This is going to take a while, yeah, it's going to come in like this, but we're all going to have our moments of scooching in or, you know, getting out of the danger zone if we need to.
yeah.
So
Time frame wise, I've heard of depending on when it starts. I guess that's the one question. Depending on when it starts, but some say it takes 70 years, some say it takes 7 years. It doesn't take 7 days or 7 hours for all this to happen. So, but I've heard of 70 years or 7 days. But the question is, if it's even 70 years, when did that clock start?
Yeah. At what point did that start?
Did it start in
Well,
the
I
70s?
would think that it would start when we start, like probably with the glaciers melting and the water levels rising. That was
Right.
probably
Well,
the
even
start
if
of
you
it.
say, well, it begins when the poles start shifting. Well, the poles already started shifting.
Yeah.
They're already advancing as we
Oh, I
speak.
think we're in it. I would
Oh
say
yeah.
we're probably in it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We're in it, definitely. So, and
So,
they were talking about how like they have to adjust their equipment every 6 months now because it's moving so quick, you know.
mm,
So
yeah.
pretty soon, if I forgot what time frame, I don't think they talked about when, but soon the North Pole will be in Russia, and which
Okay.
was funny. This book was written 89, 88, 89. This book was written,
Mm,
and they talked about how the poles are going to be in Russia, the North Pole.
wow.
So I was
Okay.
like, and on top of that, you would think that it'll be freezing since the North Pole is the magnetic pole is in Russia, but it won't be freezing. It'll take longer for the weather to adjust on top of that.
Wow.
So
Well, and we've all been in funny weather. It's like we're getting snow in March here. So it's like, you know,
I know it's weird. It's not cold over here. I mean, we're back to business as usual, but I was telling Karen, I said, I don't remember all the leaves falling off the tree in March. Usually it's
yeah,
spring, but the leaves are still falling.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So we've got some weather quirkiness going on. And here's the thing, we're on the ride whether we want to be or not, right? So the more we're
Can't get
to
off the
be
ride just yet,
flexible,
huh?
we're here. So,
I want to be on Space Mountain.
this thing's spinning way too fast. Stop. I'm gonna throw up. But yeah, so we might as well make the best of whatever's coming around. And if we're gonna put energy out there, why not put the energy out there for the good things that
Mm-hmm.
we're being told can be created as well? So we'll do that.
Yep, the positive timeline. And then
Yeah.
even in the book, he even talks about all these, even in your sessions with Daniel, as they're talking about it, I think about the stuff that you say, the interesting technologies that come from it all.
Yeah.
Perfect example in today's video, you talked about communication with alien beings, ETs, and then you called it ambassadors. So I want to know who's on that ticket, right?
I know.
So, but they're
I
also
hope you are. That
I
would be
know,
awesome.
huh? Get my
Yeah.
ranks.
I hope you get like a whole galactic outfit to wear too.
Oh
Like a
yeah, there we
jumpsuit
go.
you could be walking around
Keep
in.
our robe or something.
Yeah. That'd be
So in
fun.
the book, they talked about like how we'll have more communications with our galactic brothers because of all the changes that are happening, it's very beneficial for us to get that information from them, kind of like what you was just saying. So,
Yeah. Oh, cool.
so
Okay, so what you guys maybe don't know is I haven't read these books that he's talking about. No,
no, no, and
Jason has not shared this information with me,
no, this
knowing.
is all brand new.
Yeah,
Shoot, I think it's been a couple months since we even talked.
right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've been on a journey and
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's almost like another awakening in a way. But very interesting information comes from those books, and I will add that the video collaboration that I did with Holly Duckworth, she mentioned the books and everything, and someone else brought it to my attention as well, and then I felt just compelled to read them for whatever reason. At first, I wasn't going to read them because I thought it had nothing to do with the future or it had nothing to do with us. I thought it just dealt with the year 2000, that time frame, and that was it. But I was just wrong. So
yeah.
it deals with 2030, 2040, 2087, all
Wow.
kinds of future dates and stuff. So, but
So
yeah,
now everybody's gonna want to be reading those books. So it's the Nostradamus
absolutely.
books.
Yeah. So there's 3 volumes. I'm trying to go through volume 3, but it gets I recommend all 3, but the second and the third is just pretty juicy. A lot of
Wow.
juicy information. Talks about even ancient knowledge being rediscovered, you know, which goes along with my client, which just happened to send me a message on Instagram as well, because in her session, and her session's on Guardians of Magic, but it talks about the hidden chambers in the pyramids. So she was having a QHHT session talking about the hidden chambers, and sure enough, she sends me a link on Instagram. Hey, just thinking about you. This is, they finally went to go explore this hidden chamber. They knew it was there, but they finally got the information of what's inside of it, like pictures. And she's
Wow.
like, this is what came through in my session. This was years before this all happened. And then sure enough, in the books, it talks about very similar stuff too, that you're going to discover more and more stuff in Egypt because of the changes we're going through. It goes hand in hand. Like we think we just discovered just to discover these things, but there's a reason for it.
So much.
And I thought that was pretty cool. Like, yeah, you discovering this because you need to know this stuff, buddy. The collective needs to know this information.
That's the exciting part, is that how much faster all that information gets out there now.
I know.
It's like,
hey, couldn't this stuff come like 10 years ago?
No kidding. But the internet and how fast things can get put out there now, and more people writing books about their experiences instead of just holding on to them going, no, I don't want to share that. I'm going to be the weirdo. Well, now everybody's a weirdo, so share it. It's like, and the more of us that are sharing our experiences, the more we're finding we're all having similar experiences. So that part's exciting too. And so it's just become this big ripple effect, I think, of a lot of people. I know I was hearing the Conscious Life Expo in LA. I didn't get to go this year, but I was hearing that there was a larger number this year than normal. We were all recovering from not doing it through COVID. And then last year it was kind of slim pickings because people were still a little bit afraid to put their toe in the water in a big group setting like that. So, but this year, I guess it was like coming out of the woodwork. Everybody's wanting to know more. And so that's exciting. And more workshops and conferences and things all around the world going on now. So
I think people know that something's going on out there. And I think they're like, kind of like me. Years ago, I felt like something's coming. Something's, I don't know what it is, but something is changing. Something's coming.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. So I guess with a lot of these other individuals, they're like, something's not right with the world today. Something's going on.
More.
We got UFO footage coming out. We got all this other information coming out. People talking about all these things now.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
Yeah. And I know that when you were asking questions in earlier episodes, that kind of stuff that was being told to us by Daniel, that what are you going to see in 2022, 2023? And that was part of it. More disclosure, more people talking about it, undeniable things happening that they can't deny it's happening, And
yeah. Speaking of which, there was also more new footage that came out. So I didn't get to dig into it, but there was more interesting stuff that came out that's new release stuff that happened recently, and then also stuff that happened years ago was released, but I haven't dug into it yet. I haven't checked it out. So but I heard about it and saw some previews of it. I was like, okay. So all right, that's interesting. Made me think about you.
I know. I used to go down all of those rabbit holes, and now I don't get to, but I'll live vicariously through you.
I'll keep you up to date.
Yeah, keep me up to date on that stuff. Find something good. I want to know.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy, nothing like, whoa, you have to see this. It's kind of like the usual you see, but it was something more, something new.
Yeah. Yeah. It to me, it's kind of like kind of getting that flashback and that memory of when I discovered who Admiral Byrd was and his journey to the inner earth and that story, and having to wrap my mind around, is this real? Is this somebody's funny little story? What is this? And
right.
And then having to open my mind to the idea that there's a civilization within our earth. And it's like, I want to know more about these things, so that got me all digging into all kinds of things. And then I found all these other rabbit holes to go down, where they were digging in the ice and found a ship, and that there were dead bodies in the ship, but there were also bodies in the containers. What do you call the where they freeze, or
Oh, pods,
yeah, pods, where they were sustaining
containment
their lives in
pods.
there. And these were giant beings. And
Mm.
that there were drawings of, the person that was reporting on that had drawings, not pictures. And so there was, and like, people were standing by these giant things, and they're looking this big, and these things are this big, and they have
Oh,
these pods where, if they're afraid, if they wake them up, or if they open those pods, that these beings will be alive, and we don't know if they're good or bad, or what they're going to do. And so there was this whole cool thing around that, which got me all into the extraterrestrial world, and diving into, okay, now I got inner Earth, and I got this collective of giant extraterrestrials, and all this, like, the energy of the ship was creating this entire atmosphere under the ice. And so there was this whole
right.
flora thing going on. And anyways, it was just a neat, and I could not tell anybody where to find that, because that was like, I can't even tell you how many years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time
That
ago.
was before, yeah, that was before I even, I think, stumbled across Julia, um
Yeah.
or any of that.
Then the
So
government scrubbed the internet.
yep. Yeah, so you probably couldn't find that stuff now, but yeah, there was so much cool information. And so yeah, I kind of miss the rabbit holes a little, but at the same time, I'm not getting stirred up in the other things that are meant to trigger us and keep us in fear. So there's that too. I'm more peaceful.
Gotcha. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Fun times for sure. Well, I think we covered everything. I think that wraps up everything. Was there anything else you wanted to share that we missed? I think we talked about the Moses Code. Uh, Unless there's something you wanted to add with the Earth shifting part where Daniel was showing about that part. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
um, it was more of a feeling with the earth shifting. Like, if you think of it, we call it Mother Earth,
Hmm.
and it would be like, she's taking us like you would take a little baby and gently put it into the bath water so that it can acclimate until it's,
Gosh.
temperature. That's kind of the feeling I got, is she's not just throwing us sink or swim. She's gently moving us into the bath water and letting us acclimate to that temperature. That's what we're doing with the energy. She's gently bringing us into the energy to transition us into that gently as possible.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Glad I asked that question.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you did too, because I probably wouldn't have realized that without thinking about it. That, there was that feeling of gentleness to it.
Instead of
Like,
me messaging you the next day, hey, I forgot to ask that.
yeah, and then there's nothing coming out of it. I would be like, sorry about your luck.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
So, yeah, yeah, the messages for the individuals. I like the threads, connecting to more threads of self, and just a reminder to us that we can do that we
All
can
right.
have
The
access to.
turkey thing was interesting. Turkey and Europe.
It's almost like Turkey, even just seeing it in my mind right now, it's almost like, if you were to look at the map of Turkey, it would be like this little pin light coming out of Turkey that's so bright. You'd be like, I can't look over there. And I know that sounds funny, because I think Turkey is in a lot of chaos, right? I mean, all those areas kind of are.
Yeah,
There,
there's tensions,
yeah,
political tensions and everything, if I am mistaken.
there is, if you look up the ley lines, there's some certain ley lines create a symbol. That's what I'm saying. It's creating a symbol, like a sacred geometry. And
Um,
it's a, so the ley lines will cross in a particular way, and it's going to create, or it does create, sacred geometry. And one of the locations of Turkey, and that creates a lot of energy there, which is probably, it's energy. So it's not to say it's all white light, it's all this, it's all that. It's probably, if you are experiencing a lot of that energy and you haven't done your work, you might be experiencing a lot of agitation, right? Like, it's,
mm,
if that energy is triggering you in all of your stuff. So for some people, that might not feel like good energy, because they're just feeling agitated because they haven't dealt with the traumas of their life or whatever. But those who have will look at this energy like it's very high vibrational and lifting them up. So depends on where you're at on your path on how you feel about that energy coming out of Turkey. But I do feel like it's oh, here's a question that I want to ask Daniel. Is that coming from down below and up, or is it coming from above and down?
Right now?
Yeah, I'm in my mind asking him, where is this energy accumulating within the earth and coming out like a pimple, right?
Oh.
Or is it energy that is being magnetized to?
I can only take a guess.
It feels to me like it is, it's pulling it in. Is the feeling I get. What did you get?
That it was the opposite, that it was pulling it out. Like,
well, and maybe, yeah, like a purging.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it does
From the
both.
earth
Maybe it's purging
inside.
and then filling in, and then maybe
Oh.
like that ebb and flow that they were talking about. Remember the ebb and flow? So maybe it's doing that. Maybe it's purging out and then bringing in new, and then purging out and bringing in new. We get to create it however we want because we're the creators, right? So yeah, it's the release valve for Mother Earth. Thanks, Turkey.
Well, to add to that, each little section needs its own version of healing as well. So whether it's Turkey, Europe, South America, and so on, even America, they need their own type of purging, clearing, crystalline energy on top of that as well, So maybe at this point in time, because of all the political unrest and, with certain groups, maybe that's where the energy is needed. With Europe, with all that stuff that's going over there, I mean, shoot, Turkey's just right there. I mean, it's very close to what's going on over there, So
if you were to look at it, it just looks like this little nubbin.
I
And
know.
it's a big thing.
Take that energy and go, boop.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take this little piece and go. But yeah, it's interesting because there's so much focus. What I find for me is that when I start hearing people talking a lot, and I'm putting all these pieces together as we're talking, because I realize you talked about Europe. I talked to Julia and she's talking about Europe, and it's like I'm just realizing there's been a lot of conversations about that, but that happens whenever
Going to
there
Europe.
is a shift going on somewhere. Everyone seems to be pulled there, and so yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people are feeling like they need to travel in that area right now because they're going there to help shift that energy. So that's interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Tracie's going to Europe too.
All right. Well, bye everybody, and thanks for sticking around and watching the show, and definitely click like on these videos, you guys. It helps. Click like, share them. Yeah.
Don't forget the strawberry comment.
Yes, we want your strawberries. If that's on this part of the video, or go to the first video if it's not on this one. Anyways, thank you, Jason.
Thank you
for letting me play with you again. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.